It's exactly 49 minutes past the hour of 7 and you're still watching Sunrise at Sea. You're just in time for the Twitter Jabs, where this morning we're discussing women combat sports. And joining me this morning is none other than a lady that I recognize, a lady that I respect when it comes to kickboxing, and that's none other than Patricia Apollo. Well, she is the only female kickboxer in Uganda and as well as Africa with the largest number of belts. She has also had many golden medals. She has won a number of home, continental, intercontinental fights as well. Well, Apollo has also been nominated by the Uganda Sports Association, that is also known as USPA, 5 times as the best female boxing champion in the country. Well, Apollo also holds the World Kickboxing Federation international title that she obtained in June 2015. Good morning, Patricia, and thank you so much for accepting to be a part of Sunrise at Sea this morning.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's quite a pleasure. However, you have made a very small brief of introduction.
Okay.
Also nominated under the Forbes 2019 under 30.
Absolutely.
So the list goes on and on.
Yes. If I went into telling you the things Polot has achieved over time and what she holds, oh my God, we could probably spend the whole day here. But because it is women, it is because of women like you in sports that are out there and, you know, making sure that our potential is actually realized. So let me first of all ask this question as we begin this interview. How do you feel being the only female kickboxer in the country?
Allow me to correct you on that.
Okay.
I'm not the only one.
Okay.
Just because I am on top doesn't mean I'm the only one.
Okay.
We are many. Before even I joined the sport, there were those women before me. Unfortunately, as you see, there's this word they say that first class, middle class, and
yes, yeah, absolutely.
So, when we were categorized under classes, that's when they say I'm the only one.
Yes.
But for me, I know that I'm not the only one, because before me, I found other ladies there, and before them, they also found other ladies there. So even me, in my regime, there is also other women who are there with me. Only that they have not yet reached to where I am, and that's why my name sounds more and up than any other female fighter or in combat before the history of kickboxing started in the country. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not the only one.
Okay, but it is your name that is the most recognized. You definitely said that yourself. So what are those achievements that have stood out for you during this period of martial arts?
First of all, one, acknowledgement. Priceless acknowledgements from different continents, because first of all, from Forbes Africa, you don't need to go there. We don't have any representative out there to go and nominate you for that. So being nominated as in a continent and by people you don't know, that is one of the, I think, accolades I have. Then when you talk of USPA, I cannot control the whole media. Absolutely. You guys are difficult to deal with. And
really,
any single word you say about the media, you can be shut like tin. So also those are, besides this, yes, these are personal gained, like you win as you are an individual. But there are those together unified accolades that you gain or that you win because other people stood by your back. They believed in you, they trusted you, and they said that we can do it together.
Yes.
As a family, a woman wholeheartedly trusts her husband, or a husband trusts wholeheartedly her children with a woman. And remember, these people started as strangers before they bought to something else.
Yes.
So even me, this is what I can always say that I think I stand proudly saying, as me with I stand for women in sports in Uganda. Those who can, those who have failed, those who were challenged, they reached somewhere and then it all like erupted there. I stand and say that we did it together and we have achieved as a person, not as a people, but as a person, to have different things upon our names. First of all, you have integrity and humility. Yes. And that's the biggest thing we have. Above all, patience. We have tolerated all odds in sports. Besides everything, we have really what's called patience. Back then, I heard you talking about revenge. There is no woman who desires to have revenge than to be loved. But where does revenge come in? When you are underlooked, just like a man. A man in a family drives and has his ego once he's stepped on.
Absolutely.
But once he feels that I'm still a hero in my own room, even if it's just respected and say, let that go and rest. And that's what we also, women in sport, are looking at. For us to feel in the space, not because people say we can't, because they know that we did it and we achieved it, not because we gave in something else. That's, I think, for me, what I treasure most as the accolade I have or what I've achieved in sports than even all this.
Okay. Now you mentioned something and you said you're not the only woman when it comes to kickboxing, and you have said there are many that you found in the field and there are many who still follow you. However, it is still your name that is continuously resounded.
Yeah.
Now allow me ask, when you look at the numbers or the number of women that have actually decided to take up kickboxing as a profession in Uganda, it's quite low. Is it an issue of the sports being violent, or do you think that women haven't been fully encouraged to take it up?
I don't think that word violence exists.
Okay.
Violence is something that you do outside the law. And violence is something that has nothing to do with supremacy.
Yes.
Violence is something someone does when pressured.
Okay.
We are not pressured to do this. It is something that you wake up one day, just like a woman wakes up and says, for me, I fit into the kitchen.
Yes.
For me, for us women, we fit into the kickboxing world or into the combat sport because we believe we fit in there. Very many different versions of everyone's expectations of a child. Some like we the Africans, we are groomed in a different way that a girl child is supposed to get married maybe at a young age to please or do everything to please our parents in order to get a suitable suitor. For us, we believe in also nurturing our mind outside the kitchen. What else can we do? Exercising our minds beyond the imagination of our own parents, beyond the imaginations of any ordinary woman. You know, like right now, if you choose among 8 women or 5 women and put in one house and you say, what would you want to be? Some of them will say, for me, I just want to cook, bake. For me, I just want to be a tailor, hairdresser. She will never speak of something being an engineer. She'll never speak of something like, I want to be a bricklayer, maybe a builder, or maybe whatever I don't know about those terms. And she will only think about just within her reach, not outside her reach. What we did is just to extend a little bit the boundaries to tell a woman that you are not just a kitchen. You are not a producing machine.
Yes.
You are not just what people say. There is time for everything. Set your time now than before, after. Because if you don't put everything right here, just like a relationship, when you start with a relationship whereby the man is on his toe, stepping on you every single time, slapping you, without you telling that, you know what, I did not sign up for this. I signed up to be your companion. I need to respect you and you respect me back. That's how respect is earned. This is also what women need to understand in the sport. Absolutely. And in their lives, that we are never objects of anything, but objects of love. So if you look at into the sport right now, and then you say, why did I choose the sport? Why is this? Why other women? Why did the other left? It's because we have been put into that closet of saying, the kitchen, marriage, make a man happy. And
that is it.
It does not matter whether you yourself you're hurting. It doesn't matter. You know how many women are wounded right now because of forceful marriages, because of trying to satisfy a man whose eyes have never been satisfied. A man who looks at every skirt that passes and says, yeah, that's a woman. Do you know how many women are bleeding, nursing wounds because of a man has never seen her beyond just being a house curtain or a door floor, just being like a washing machine? Do you know how many men, no matter how much you try to tell them, go ease on me, he tells you that, do not speak at me or against me or I'll kick you out. Due to fear of that, we are just bound within our closets. So there's so many things to talk outside of this, but let's go back to the sports.
I like the way you speak. You give so much motivation, and you motivate so many young girls out there. I mean, listening to you this morning, you're literally taking the things that I keep telling young women, that you can be anything that you want to be, that there is more beyond just being a nurturer, beyond just being a mother, beyond just actually going and taking care of yourself. But even while looking at the fact that on 8th March, when we celebrated Women's Day under the hashtag of breaking the bias, and it still continues. We are not just breaking the bias because society has it. I mean, let's take a look at our parents. How many parents will you walk up to and tell that at the end of the day, I want to play football, I want to become a sports person, and they'll accept it happily? So we're already breaking that bias. But here you are again. Not only have you broken the bias together with your colleagues that you're with in the same department, but you're even going ahead to do a sport that people would have never initially imagined that a woman would do. So how are you able to get where you are now?
First of all, I had to eliminate a few elements. One, the element of religion.
Religion?
Then the element of tradition. Those are things that I think have limited us beyond our reach. The element of religion tells you that do not do this. Not what is written in the Bible.
Yes.
Everyone reads the Bible and interprets on his own way. The Bible says that when we still have strength, we have to do everything. When you're a child, think as a child, reason as a child, do as a child, everything as a child. When you grow up, be a human being. So as a youth, I have to use my strength to the satisfaction of my own self. So that, you know, I always tell myself, my siblings, I never had really enough time to play with. We never had dolls, we never had pets, we never had this and that. If it is a pet, a general pet for everybody, like at home, not like, of course, the Western way of having pets by individual pets.
Yes.
We used to share maybe 3, 4, 5 girls, one bed, maybe not just a bed, but a mat. We used to share blanket, you know, as grown up. One urinates this way, one the other, one the other. So we grew up in that. And then this comes in a religion that comes and tells you that a woman should not do this because she's being so this to her parents.
Aggressive.
A tradition comes in and says that any girl that is disobedient to our traditions. That's not our norms, taboos, and this. And that's why men those days used to eat liver and say women shouldn't. Up to today, still tradition bounds a woman not to do certain things. And so does the religion. But when you look at the true gospel, what does it say? We are all to do things to the satisfaction of one man. That's God.
Yes.
Not to man.
Absolutely.
Our desire to satisfy a man has caused us greed. That's why even when you look at the Bible, well, in Colossians, it tells that if a woman is married to a man who's not a believer, forget about a church goer. Forget about a church worshipper. Forget about a man who praises and you see that the heavens is torn, but in his house is a lion. That is not a believer. Kick him out or let him go. Or you yourself, set yourself free. And these are kinds of marriages we are entangled into. In the name of satisfying tradition and religion, we are bound into marriages whereby you say, no, it's because I'm married. It's because I have this ring in my finger. So I'm bound to this. I am not a victim of torture.
So the first thing, in order to get the kind of career that you got, the first thing you had to let go was religion. Then you moved on to tradition.
Then I moved into tradition. Then I said, who am I? By the time I discovered who I am, I learned that I am bound to say, as it is written, that I am to move beyond borders, to preach which gospel of what Elohim or God has given unto me. That I'm supposed to exercise my life beyond I can. Because at the time when I grow old, when I can no longer walk, I go back to think as a child, I need to be taken care of. What memories do I have? What life have I lived? Before I become a tool to another man, have I lived to my own self-satisfaction? No. Am I still bound to things of saying that I wish I did this? I don't want to have wishes. I still have wishes when I did not grow up with my parents. I said, I wish I had my parents with me. They are alive, but I never had that chance to live with them because each one of them went his own direction. But that is the kind of life I have to say that I do not want my children to live. So now, when you come back to here, and then I say, religion first be there. And it's not because I'm not a believer. I am a believer, but I'm not a slave to religion.
Yes.
I am a believer, but I'm not a slave to tradition. I am free to do what I want, just as it is written. Plainly read the Bible and explain the Bible your own terms. Not because a pastor told you, not because your parents believed in. Your mother is still a victim – because she believed in what she was told. What do you say about yourself?
I A woman that is not only good in her sports, but she knows her Bible, she knows her worth, and she's out here making change. Patricia, let's look at the aspect of gender inequality. I know behind the scenes we're talking about it, and it was a very heated argument. Yeah. Do you think that gender inequality is something that is becoming an issue when it comes to promoting still women in combat sports? Or is it being used as an excuse to a certain extent?
That's the right word. It's an excuse. That word has brought laziness to humanity, and mostly to a woman.
Because we're hiding under the guise of gender inequality.
Yes, and it is making an insult to a man. Because a man will say that, why are women only considered and why not us? Why are women this and not us?
But men are already empowered.
No, men are not empowered. That is what you are told. Men are not empowered. Men are toiling their asses out. Sorry to use that word.
Yes.
Every single day. Just like a woman. However, the Bible says that is what a man is supposed to do. That's what a man is supposed to do. But if you tell a man that is less and a woman is above him, that's what makes him a lion. Or even a hyena. A hyena favors nothing and eats everything. And the worst part a hyena can do is to start to eat you from your inside. And you feel the pain to the last bit. So that is...
Patricia, you're an interesting person.
So that gender equality is an excuse to a lazy mind. Nobody has ever told a woman what she can't do. Nobody has ever limited anyone. Apart from us waking up because of the things I told you, religion and norms. That is what has brought this word gender equality. And let us stop copying what the Western world is doing, for heaven's sake. For us, the Africans, we know what we are capable of doing. Gender equality, as your mother or your father ever told you, you are not his or her child. If they have told you that, that means it's because of something they are both in their own secret rooms do. But gender equality, for me, I really do not have much words to say that. It's like saying human rights. Everybody has a right to do something. So gender equality, if I'm to bring it together in everything, in one word, I just have to you have a right. A woman has a right. Stop hiding under the blanket like a small kitchen or kitten or something. Come out of that closet and say that to hell with gender equality. I have a right to do. I have a right to say. I have a right to work. I have a right. The president gave us a right to do everything. Freedom of speech. A woman can speak right now. You and me, we can speak right now. This was what men used to do. Women were not even allowed to appear in courts. So why are we still using that word gender equality? What are you not doing? And what are men doing? Do you want to go on top of a man?
To prove that you're equal.
You are equal? Do you want to be the one paying the house bills to prove you're equal? Do you want him to produce a child? That's when you know that you are equal. We are divided. A man to do what he's supposed to. A woman is to labor. Labor. Wash this man's clothes. But not on his account. Because you want it. Do not be pushed to do it. I have a boyfriend. He does his own work. At the house, he can wake up and tell you, rest, I need to clean the house. He cooks. The washing machine is there. He washes. Why do you want to push me to do things just because you want me to prove that we are equal? Or there is gender equality? No. I have a right of say. That's what freedom of speech means. That's what a right is. That's why we have these hereditary rights.
Yes.
If a princess is born, she has to live as a princess. So if I am a princess in my own world, why do you want to encroach it? Because of the name of gender equality.
Ask them. So Patricia, as we head back to the conversation, taking a look at what would you tell men that are watching you this morning in a bid or in a way to encourage women to be more forthcoming when it comes to sports and break the bias of sports should be left for only men, especially women in combat?
The only thing is that be a hand. Be a hand. Seriously, why we are still behind? Because we do not have a hand. We do not have, yes, we have the voices, but we do not have a hand. What do I mean? There is when a man speaks up and other people listen. That's why you see that my manager is a man. my media team they're all men. Because once I tried as a person, and I used to have a female with me doing the whole thing, because I wanted to say, I want to rise up a team of women who they can do things by themselves. We were never listened. We're not heard. To the point that I almost said that I do not want to do anything to do with the sport anymore. And I said that, yeah, maybe these other things were right. But you men outside there, you have all the tools needed. You have opened different enterprises. You have a lot of things that can support a girl child, that can support a man, not only a woman, but also men who need to rise up. Let me tell you this. I have lived in this sport for a long time to know that it's not only women who are affected. Men are crying at the same rate as women. A greater name does not feed. A greater name does not deploy you anywhere.
Yes.
A greater achievement does not, at times, no one cares about what you have achieved. Nobody cares. But if you have someone, just one person, who can tell you that, I know you have done this, but can I be able to push you a little bit to this extent? That's what they did to me. They pushed me to a certain extent, to the angle that today I can come to speak here. But if nobody had picked me, who would have been? Would I be here?
Absolutely not.
No. So that's what I'm saying. Men out there, we need a hand. Even including greater women, we need a hand. Women out there who are listening, you have a lot of money wasting every single night in the clubs. Men out there, every day you are prostituting from one lodge to another. For heaven's sake, get that money. Instead of taking that money to the lodge. I'm sorry, not every man, but of course.
Yes, I understand where you're coming from. But Patricia, back to the aspect, still in relation to the conversation. There are men out there who have stereotyped women that are into combat sports. They even go to the extent of saying, but how can I even date or even marry? You yourself have just said that you have a boyfriend, and that is amazing and beautiful. But there are men out there who actually fear women like you. What would you say to them?
I deserve to be feared.
Absolutely.
I deserve to be feared.
Okay.
Because by the time you come to approach me, you need to know your limits. First of all, one, I'm not a punching bag. Love me, respect me, you get the same. Disrespect me, I give you back.
Full measure.
Double.
Shaken together.
Double. I deserve the same way you treat me is the same way I give you. By the way, we rarely get angered. I rarely get angered. When
you as an individual, or is it the kind of profession?
It is the kind of, by the time I entered into the sport, I had this heart of revenge. I needed to avenge everyone who belittled me when I was young, who spoke bad about me. They always used to say, is she a man? That's a man. As if they could not see, like, I am a woman. Every single place, like everywhere I used to go, they were like abusing. I was insulted. I was not looked at as a woman. I was always looked at as a man. I was always a curse to everybody. Every family I could go, I was like, what is she doing here? And you know the worst part of African way? They really know that every African man is mostly like, how do you call it? A polygamist? There are so many brats. We call ourselves, not a brat, but how do you call these women, girls, children born outside marriage?
The name they use is either
bastards. We call them bastards. There are so many bastards out there. We as bastards, but we have actually become the icons of our families.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yes. But because of this other stuff like that. So when I come back there, I look at every single day when my mother, because I did not see her, I saw her at the very, like, when I've already really, really, like, grown up.
Yes.
So I often ask my mom, but Mom, what happened? She's like, you know what? When I found out that I was not the first wife of your dad, I couldn't bear. So I had to leave. Despite the fact that I had you when I was young, I wanted to continue to go to school. So she felt disrespected. She felt humiliated. And so she had to leave me with my great-great-grandma, may her soul rest in peace, she died last year, whereby she had to groom me. She raised me and told me that, you're my little butterfly. You need to fly. Let your wings go. Allow your wings to go. Fly wherever you want, but do not go above the sun. Fly everywhere you go, but do not go above the sun. I did not understand what she meant by then, but now I do. Now I do. So every single day I rise up to say, I am a butterfly who needs to let go of my wings. Whenever I try to hold them back, I say, I do not want to go back to be a caterpillar. I just need to fly. A caterpillar is just vulnerable to everything, to bad, to what, even to its own self. But a moment it gets off its wings and learns to fly, it learns that there's a beautiful world beyond just down. There's a world out there that you need to see. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Exercising my wings and seeing beyond what every other woman would. And I wanted every woman out there, if you're married and you have something else to desire, that you want. There are even, by the way, there are some women, their husbands push them to do things.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, she says, no, but I can't. They're like every time holding themselves back. And they say, no, but because, and women have a behavior of pretense, of as if they're the most beautiful creatures in the world. To hell no, you are not.
Okay.
You are not. Have you ever seen there are very few beautiful women who have successfully stayed in their marriages in the name of beauty. When a man tells you, please honey, bring me this, no, I'm spoiling my nails, no, I'm not doing this, because you just want to be a potato couch and just sit there and say, oh no, come on. There are so many things women are being pushed to do just because she says, I'm beautiful, I don't need to do that. No, but how can she even manage? So the man looks at you and says, look at this. What is this? A leech? My dear, go out there.
And work.
And work.
Make something out of yourself.
Yes.
Now, Patricia, you have shared parts of yourself, parts that have actually touched me. You shared how you actually channeled the pain that you went through into something good. Not very many people would actually choose to rise the way you have chosen to rise. Was there a moment in your life, in your career, where you actually wanted to give up, where you broke down? Could you share with us?
Oh, I have had countless times. I just went to my room and closed the door, no matter how much my sister tried to knock, no matter how many times even some other people came in. I just tell them that enough is enough. First of all, when I was just entering into the sport, they called me all kinds of names. They said I was achieving this success because I was sleeping with men. That's why I say that no matter how much a woman tries, she will always be underlooked. She will always be. Even if she tries as much to gain everything on her own, they will always say it's because she's a prostitute. So that's, I think, what is drawing women to be wild, and that's what has really taken women to be prostitutes, as they are called. And when I was that point, I remember one day walking into the National Council. I don't want to mention his name.
Yes.
When I went to the National Council, I was supposed to go, that was in 2012. I was supposed to go to, I think, Austria for a fight. And that was my first international fight I was to have. And when I went there, my name was already there, out there. They had already told the General Secretary, you know what, that girl is not going for sport, she's going for prostitution. All the officials that have been coming here, she's the one who has been entertaining. It shook me to my core. And the person who was speaking about that was actually the member of the federation, the executive of the federation. He was the one trash talking my name. And by the time I heard that, I said to myself, you know, it is very, very bad when someone lies something about you. It hurts than the truth. When you catch me red-handed with your husband, the only thing I'll say, my dear, I'm sorry. But when you lie that you caught me with your husband, I'll go for you and I'll get you. So that time really, I went and I burnt my gloves. I did a lot of things, and I just casted the day I chose kickboxing of all sports. Okay. Remember, I was a person who came out of of football, because I was disappointed in football because every time whenever we could go, there was tribalism in football. No matter how much you try, they always say, you're not doing it. So I gave up on football, and I said, I don't want a sport whereby, first of all, we're 12 people, 24 people chasing one single ball, and then at the end of it all, I'm looked at as if I can't give it all. I said, enough is enough with that. When I went to taekwondo also had a lot of like, who has money? Remember, there's no money in taekwondo. So everything you have to do yourself. Remember one trip when we had to go all the way up to Rwanda. We came back from Rwanda, there was nothing. We're not even given water. We're not given transport to go home. It was only from there to Kibuli where we were. From there we were asked to go, everyone to go in our own direction. And some of us came from very far. So I had to foot to go back home. I remember one time when we were coming from, we went for a fight that was inter-club championships in Mombasa. We had to look for our own means to go to Mombasa. We were like 12 people in a van. We were like, I think 15 people in a van of 10. We had to sit down, and you remember, we went when the legs were swollen. There are so many times where I had to look down and I say, when I had to come back home, I had to go back. There was no food, there was no nothing. And my mother by then had come with my mother. She says, but how long are you going to continue with this sport that is not even giving anything? I said, Mama, it will one-time pay. It will one-time pay. But one time I went to my grandma and she told me that you're just in a wrong sport. My dear, one time you'll get to be in somewhere where you deserve to be.
Absolutely.
And I said to her, but Grandma, you don't know what you're saying. She says, I know what I'm talking about. You're just in a wrong sport. Trust me, dear, when you go to the right one, you will be out there.
Okay, so as we wrap up this conversation, any last remarks to the women out there that would like to be like you?
Fly. Let it go. Let it go. You are not subject to anything, but you are actually, go out there and experiment. Some of us think that the kitchen is the best. My mother started running at a very, like when she's already a woman. My sister, one of my cousin's sisters, she started, she went back to school to be an engineer, and she's now actually doing a lot of successful things as an engineer, but she started at the age of 25. Mm-hmm. So you woman who thinks that the kitchen is yours, it's not too late. But go and see the world outside there. You are not the only one who's beautiful. I am maybe even more beautiful than you are. So if you're hiding in the name of beauty, in the name of saying that I can't do this, I can't do this, my dear, by the time you wake up, it will be too late for you.
Absolutely.
The earlier you rise up, the better for you.
Well, thank you so much, Patricia, for joining us this morning on Sunrise at Sea. I have learned so many things for you. I'm sure the viewer out there has also learned a couple of things. I don't know, am I allowed to touch these?
You are.
Patricia came along with some of, so tell us, where did you get this one, for example?
This is African title. I won this one. I've lost track of everything. But some of these titles, there's one I won in Uganda, there's one I won in, there's so many countries I've gone to, so, but for Africa, definitely, so I think I won here in Uganda.
Okay.
For the world champion, I won in Greece, one in Romania, one in Hungary.
Yes.
One in, the recent one in Egypt, Cairo, where I had to verse with against the Argentinian. There are those that I won also in, like so many, list continues. So I can barely even remember any. So I had to go to my record book. I think so many punches did harm to my brain.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us in this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, these things are not easy to come by. It takes determination. It takes hard work. It takes stopping to hide under the cover of gender inequality and actually going ahead and not allowing anyone to tell you what you can or cannot do, especially as a woman. And I'll borrow the words that Patricia has said, fly. Allow yourself to fly, regardless of what it is. And sometimes you might be in the wrong spot, you may be in the wrong employment position, but when you get to the right one, you yourself, you'll be able to tell that this is what I was meant to do. I do hope that you are able to pick a thing or two. I shall hold on to this. I do not know if I'm allowed. But anyway, that wrapped up the conversation that I had for you this morning on the Twitter Jabs. Keep watching Sunrise at Sea.